Pickles seem harmless enough, crunchy, tangy, the perfect companion to a sandwich or burger. But for seniors, hidden dangers can be lurking beneath that salty brine. Sky-high sodium levels that send blood pressure soaring, contaminated jars that harbor dangerous bacteria. Some pickle brands are quietly putting your health at serious risk. Today, we're exposing 9 pickle brands you should think twice about, and revealing the 2 that actually deserve a place in your refrigerator. Coming in at number 9, Vlasic. The name alone triggers nostalgia. That smiling stork on the label. The promise of crisp, classic pickles that defined American lunches for generations. Vlasic built its reputation on crunch, freshness, and tradition. But what's inside the jar today doesn't always live up to that cheerful image. Let's take a closer look at what's really hiding behind that bright green label. 1 spear of Vlasic kosher dill contains around 290 milligrams of sodium. That might not sound alarming until you remember no one eats just 1 spear. A typical serving of 3 shoots past 870 milligrams, nearly 40% of the American Heart Association's recommended daily limit in a single snack. For seniors managing high blood pressure or taking medications like lisinopril or amlodipine, that amount of sodium acts like a silent strain on the heart and blood vessels. But salt is only part of the problem. Consumer complaints and independent testing have raised concerns about Vlasic's quality control. Some jars reach store shelves with cloudy brine, often a warning sign of bacterial growth or improper sealing. Instead of the sharp, clean snap you expect when opening a fresh jar, some lids release a dull pop, followed by a faint sour smell that signals something has gone wrong. For seniors with weakened immune systems or those taking immunosuppressive medications, contaminated pickles can cause serious foodborne illness. Severe cramps, ongoing diarrhea, and dangerous dehydration hit harder and recover slower after age 50. What should be a simple snack can quickly turn into a trip to the emergency room. According to the CDC, adults over 65 account for nearly half of all hospitalizations from foodborne illness in the U.S. Then there's the texture. Longtime Vlasic fans have flooded review sites with complaints about limp, mushy pickles. The crisp crunch that once defined the brand is often gone, replaced by soggy spears that collapse at the first bite, an unmistakable sign that shortcuts were taken somewhere in production. When you reach into the jar expecting firmness, your fingers sink into something soft and disappointing. Vlasic is now owned by a massive food conglomerate, and like many corporate giants, the focus appears to have shifted from quality to efficiency. Farm-fresh tradition has given way to factory-scale production. That wholesome stork mascot feels less like a promise and more like a distraction. It raises an uncomfortable question. Why do billion-dollar food companies continue piling up quality complaints while their products still dominate grocery store shelves? At number 8, Mount Olive. Mount Olive Pickle Company dates back to 1926, nearly a century of pickle-making history. They present themselves as family-owned guardians of tradition, with jars wrapped in warm messaging about heritage and care. But beneath the nostalgic branding, serious concerns emerge. Mount Olive's sodium levels rival the worst on this list. A single kosher dill spear contains about 320 milligrams of sodium, more than Vlasic. For seniors monitoring sodium due to heart failure or kidney disease, these pickles are essentially salt bombs masquerading as vegetables. Your kidneys already work overtime filtering waste from your blood.
Excess sodium forces them to work even harder, accelerating damage over time.
And salt isn't the only issue.
In 2019, Mount Olive issued a voluntary recall on select pickle products due to potential contamination. While the company minimized the risk, the reality is simple. Jars that were supposed to be sealed and safe made it onto store shelves with defects.
How many seniors ate those pickles before the recall was announced? How many never heard about the recall at all? The FDA estimates that only about 10% of recalled food products are actually returned or properly discarded. That means the vast majority, around 90%, are consumed anyway, often by unsuspecting shoppers who trust familiar brands to protect their health.
And for seniors, that trust can come at a very high cost.
The recall system is supposed to protect consumers, but in reality, it often fails the people who need protection the most. Consumer complaints about Mount Olive have surged in recent years. Shoppers describe jars with lids that never properly sealed, pickles showing strange discoloration, and brine that looks cloudy instead of clear. One reviewer shared photos of a jar opened at home, only to find the pickles coated in a grayish film across the surface, an unmistakable warning sign of contamination.
They said the smell hit first, a sour, rotting odor so strong it caused them to gag before they even saw what was wrong.
For seniors, these aren't small issues you can shrug off. Eating contaminated pickles can expose you to dangerous bacteria like Clostridium botulinum. Botulism may be rare, but when it happens, the consequences are severe, especially for older adults. Symptoms can include difficulty breathing, muscle weakness that spreads through the body, paralysis, and, in extreme cases, death. This bacteria thrives in improperly sealed jars where oxygen can't get in.
Mount Olive's image of old-fashioned quality feels like a betrayal when you consider the modern shortcuts that appear to be compromising safety. The family-owned branding is comforting. What's happening inside some of those jars is anything but. Now at number 7, Best Made.
Best Made has been a Texas staple since 1926. Their pickles show up at barbecues, burger joints, and dinner tables across the South. The brand leans heavily on regional pride and bold, traditional flavor. But behind that Southern charm are concerns that shouldn't be ignored.
Let's take a closer look at what's actually floating in that brine.
Beyond cucumbers, water, and vinegar, Best Made pickles contain polysorbate 80, an emulsifier linked in multiple studies to gut inflammation. Research published in Nature suggests it can damage the protective mucus lining of the intestines. You'll also find yellow 5, an artificial dye that adds color but no nutritional value.
For seniors with sensitive digestion or inflammatory conditions like diverticulitis, these additives can trigger painful flare-ups. Then there's the sodium. Best Made dill pickles pack about 380 milligrams per serving, one of the highest levels on this list. For seniors taking diuretics or dealing with fluid retention, that amount of salt can lead directly to swollen ankles, shortness of breath, rising blood pressure, and added strain on the heart, all from a single pickle.
Excess fluid builds up in the body, presses on blood vessels, and forces the heart to work harder than it should.
Quality control issues have followed Best Made for years. Online reviews paint a troubling picture of inconsistency. Some jars contain crisp, satisfying pickles. Others are filled with shriveled, rubbery cucumbers that look like they've been sitting in brine far too long. That kind of variation from batch to batch is a serious warning sign. One particularly alarming review described opening a jar and finding a small piece of what appeared to be rubber or plastic floating inside.
Foreign object contamination is a major food safety violation. Even if rare, incidents like this point to breakdowns in oversight, something seniors, already managing multiple health risks, simply can't afford.
Being a beloved regional brand doesn't excuse these problems. If anything, it makes them more disappointing. When a company markets itself as a trusted tradition, consumers deserve better than mystery additives and wildly inconsistent quality.
What's the worst thing you've ever found floating in a pickle jar? Share it in the comments.
Most people are never taught how to recognize a truly safe pickle brand, but we'll break it down clearly at the end of this video. Stay with us.
Now moving to number 6, Heinz. Heinz is a household name, famous for ketchup, but their pickle line has quietly spread across grocery stores nationwide. The brand promises premium quality backed by decades of trust. When it comes to pickles, however, that trust may be misplaced.
Heinz genuine whole dills contain about 260 milligrams of sodium per pickle, slightly lower than some competitors. But the bigger concern hides in the ingredient list. Heinz includes natural flavors, a vague term that allows companies to avoid disclosing exactly what's inside.
For seniors managing food sensitivities or allergies, natural flavors turn eating into a guessing game. That label can cover everything from plant extracts to chemically processed compounds derived from natural sources, and you're never told which ones you're getting. And when it comes to your health, guessing is a risk you shouldn't have to take.
Heinz pickles draw a steady stream of complaints about texture. Many consumers describe them as soft, almost grainy or mealy, nothing like the firm, satisfying crunch you expect from a quality dill pickle. That softness often points to overprocessing or poor handling during storage and distribution.
When a pickle loses its structure, it's not just a texture issue. The cucumber cell walls have broken down, releasing excess water and creating that unpleasant mushy feel. And once that happens, it's fair to ask what else may have been compromised along the way.
Heinz is owned by Kraft Heinz, one of the largest food corporations in the world. With that scale comes constant pressure to cut costs, cheaper cucumbers sourced farther away, faster processing that sacrifices quality, longer shelf lives achieved through added preservatives. Each decision may boost profits, but the consequences land squarely on consumers, especially seniors who rely on consistent, safe food.
Independent testing has also raised concerns about sodium accuracy. Some Heinz pickle products have been found to contain more sodium than their labels indicate. For seniors on strict doctor-ordered sodium limits, that discrepancy is dangerous. You may be tracking every milligram carefully, only to be misled by the packaging. Studies suggest that up to 20% of packaged foods don't match their labeled nutrition values. There are also reports of Heinz pickle jars reaching store shelves past their peak freshness. While technically still safe, older pickles lose flavor and nutritional value. The vitamins naturally found in cucumbers degrade over time, meaning that premium product may already be diminished before you even open the jar. It's worth asking, why does the FDA allow vague terms like natural flavors without requiring full disclosure? Who does that really protect, the consumer or the industry? If this is helping you shop more safely, hit subscribe. It's free, and it ensures you won't miss future investigations like this. Now at number 5, Claussen. Claussen positions itself as the premium refrigerated pickle. Unlike shelf-stable brands, Claussen keeps its pickles cold from production to purchase, claiming that constant refrigeration preserves freshness and delivers unbeatable crunch. It sounds reassuring, but the reality is more complicated. Claussen pickles contain around 330 milligrams of sodium per spear, with some varieties even higher. For seniors managing high blood pressure or recovering from heart issues, that's a serious concern. One pickle alone can push you dangerously close to daily limits, and most people don't stop at one.
The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, with an ideal target of 1,500 milligrams for most adults. Just 3 Clausen spears can use up nearly 30% of that stricter limit.
The cold chain Clausen depends on is also its biggest weakness. Refrigerated foods require flawless temperature control. Any disruption during transport, storage, or at the grocery store can compromise safety. Unlike canned products that show obvious spoilage, refrigerated pickles can harbor harmful bacteria with no visible warning signs. Consumer complaints highlight a troubling pattern: loose seals. Shoppers report opening Clausen jars only to find the lids weren't properly secured. Some noticed brine leaking into grocery bags. Others described a strange fizz inside the jar, an unmistakable sign of unwanted fermentation. That bubbling happens when bacteria produce gas as they multiply.
For seniors with weakened immune systems, eating products with compromised seals or inconsistent refrigeration creates a direct path to foodborne illness. Clausen, like Heinz, is owned by Kraft Heinz. The refrigerated premium label justifies a higher price, but ongoing quality issues suggest you may be paying more for branding than for real improvements in safety or consistency.
And the promised crunch? According to many customers, it's hit or miss. Some jars deliver the crisp bite you expect. Others are soft and soggy, barely different from cheaper shelf-stable pickles. When you're paying a premium, consistency shouldn't be a gamble.
You shouldn't have to wonder whether the jar you bought will live up to what the label promises. Don't click away just yet. The safest pickle options are coming at the very end, and what you're about to learn could permanently change how you shop. At number 4, B&G Foods. B&G Foods has been making pickles since 1889, more than 130 years of history. They present themselves as a classic American brand, built on time-honored recipes passed down through generations. But history alone doesn't guarantee safety, and age doesn't always mean quality. One ingredient in B&G pickles raises particular concern: sodium benzoate. While sodium benzoate is FDA approved, scientific research has raised red flags. When sodium benzoate combines with ascorbic acid, better known as vitamin C, it can form benzene. Benzene is a known carcinogen linked to leukemia and other blood cancers. Many seniors take vitamin C supplements every day. That means your morning vitamins and an afternoon pickle snack could be interacting inside your body in ways you'd never expect. This chemical reaction happens more easily in acidic environments, exactly like pickle brine. B&G pickles also contain about 270 milligrams of sodium per serving. For seniors managing heart disease, kidney problems, or other chronic conditions, this creates a double hit. Your doctor limits salt, health experts warn about carcinogens, and yet these risks sit quietly inside an ordinary-looking jar. Quality control issues only add to the concern. Online reviews describe sediment floating in the brine, something that shouldn't appear in properly processed pickles. Others report finding bits of cucumber stem or leaf material, pointing to poor cleaning practices. Some even describe a slick, slimy coating on the pickles, a classic warning sign of bacterial growth. Longtime customers also complain that B&G pickles just aren't as crisp as they used to be. The satisfying snap is gone, replaced by a limp, rubbery bite. That change suggests shifts in sourcing, processing, or storage, often the result of cost-cutting decisions. B&G's parent company has grown largely through acquisitions, swallowing smaller brands and consolidating production. When growth comes from buyouts instead of innovation, quality often takes a back seat. Heritage recipes become marketing slogans, while production quietly cuts corners to boost profits. The original founders might not recognize what carries their name today. For seniors who remember when B&G meant dependable quality, the disconnect feels like a betrayal. The jars look the same, the labels sound familiar, but the product inside has changed.
Now at number 3, Great Value, Walmart's store brand. Great Value pickles are among the cheapest you'll find on the shelf. The low price looks tempting, but when it comes to food safety, cheap often comes at a cost. These pickles contain around 290 milligrams of sodium per serving, but salt isn't the biggest problem. The larger issue is inconsistency.
Great Value products are made by a rotating cast of third-party manufacturers. The jar you buy today could come from a completely different facility than the one you bought last month. That makes consistent quality nearly impossible. One supplier might follow strict safety protocols. Another might cut corners to meet Walmart's aggressive pricing demands.
Consumer complaints about Great Value pickles are deeply concerning. Some shoppers report visible mold inside unopened jars, fuzzy green growth clinging to what should be preserved food. Others describe finding insects or insect fragments floating in the brine. One reviewer even posted photos of what looked like a small piece of metal resting at the bottom of the jar.
Foreign object contamination isn't just unpleasant, it's dangerous. Swallowing metal can damage teeth, cut gums, or cause internal injuries. For seniors taking blood thinners like warfarin, even minor internal bleeding can quickly become a medical emergency. What should be a simple snack could turn into a hospital visit. That rock-bottom price should make you pause. How can these pickles cost so much less than competitors? The answer usually lies in cheaper cucumbers, fewer inspections, and higher acceptable defect rates. The savings go to the retailer. The risk goes to you.
Internal documents from Walmart have revealed relentless pressure on suppliers to cut costs again and again. When companies are pushed to meet impossible profit margins, something has to give. Inspections get rushed, safety checks get skipped, and contaminated products slip through because stopping the line costs money.
The savings you see at the register don't come out of thin air. They come straight from compromises that put your safety at risk.
For seniors living on fixed incomes, the Great Value price tag can be tempting, but the hidden costs to your health, your security, and your peace of mind far outweigh the few dollars saved at checkout.
Now at number 2, Kroger brand pickles. Kroger's store brand pickles promise decent quality at a reasonable price. As one of the largest grocery chains in the country, Kroger certainly has the resources to ensure food safety. But having resources doesn't guarantee results. Kroger pickles contain roughly 300 milligrams of sodium per serving, placing them squarely among the high sodium offenders. For seniors managing high blood pressure, every jar becomes a gamble. And sodium is only part of the concern.
Kroger has faced repeated food safety issues across its private label products. In 2020, the company recalled certain pickled items due to potential contamination. The recall applied to specific lot numbers, but many shoppers were never notified. Unless you were actively checking recall databases, you could have eaten affected products without ever knowing there was a problem. That's because the FDA's recall notification system is deeply flawed. Announcements are sent to media outlets that may or may not report them. Store signage is inconsistent or missing entirely. For seniors who aren't constantly online checking food safety alerts, recalled products often stay in kitchens long after they should have been discarded. Some estimates suggest recalled foods sit in American homes for up to 6 months before anyone realizes there's an issue.
Consumer reviews of Kroger pickles raise serious red flags. Shoppers report jars with compromised seals. Some lids hiss when opened, a warning sign of improper sealing or gas produced by bacteria. Others describe cloudy brine instead of the clear liquid you expect in a properly preserved product. If you hold a jar up to the light and can't see through it, something has gone wrong.
Like Walmart, Kroger relies heavily on contracted manufacturers. The Kroger name on the label doesn't guarantee Kroger-level oversight at the facility producing those pickles. Different batches may come from different suppliers, each with varying and sometimes inadequate quality standards.
The promise of same quality for less often turns out to be an illusion. You're not buying the same product in a different jar. You're buying a cheaper version made with looser standards, dressed up to look comparable. The difference shows up in texture, flavor, and most importantly, safety. Have you noticed how these brands keep issuing recalls but never seem to change how they operate? Let us know in the comments.
Now, coming in at number 1, the pickle brand to avoid above all others, Pickles.
Pickle's pickles have surged in popularity thanks to their sweet and spicy flavor. They've built a devoted fan base, with many people swearing they'll never eat another pickle again. But popularity doesn't mean safe, and Pickles comes with serious risks many fans overlook.
The sugar content alone is alarming. One serving contains about 4 grams of added sugar. Traditional pickles contain none. For seniors managing type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, hidden sugars like this can quietly derail blood glucose control. You check your morning numbers, see a spike, and have no idea why, until you realize it came from a pickle. And Pickles doesn't stop there.
Each serving also delivers around 240 milligrams of sodium. Combined with the sugar, that's a metabolic double hit. Blood pressure rises, blood sugar spikes, 2 separate health issues triggered by what seemed like a harmless snack.
For seniors taking both blood pressure medication and diabetes medication, Pickles actively undermines both treatment plans at the same time. Pickles also includes artificial additives that health-conscious seniors should think twice about. Their original pickles contain polysorbate 80, the same emulsifier linked to gut inflammation concerns. For anyone managing IBS, Crohn's disease, or other digestive disorders, this ingredient can trigger painful flare-ups. Cramping, bloating, urgent bathroom trips, it's a steep price to pay for flavor.
No pickle, no matter how tasty, is worth that kind of fallout.
Consumer complaints about Pickles often point to wildly inconsistent heat levels. Some jars deliver the sweet and spicy balance promised on the label. Others are shockingly hot, far beyond what most people would expect or enjoy. That kind of inconsistency is a clear sign of poor quality control. Proper oversight should catch those variations long before jars hit store shelves. You shouldn't feel like you're playing spicy roulette every time you twist off a lid.
The sweet pickle trend Pickles helped popularize also has a darker side. By conditioning people to expect sugar in pickles, brands quietly normalize added sweeteners in foods that never needed them. It's a slow, subtle creep of hidden sugar into the diet, and seniors with diabetes pay the highest price.
The average American already consumes about 17 teaspoons of added sugar every day.
Pickles adds to that total while disguising itself as a vegetable.
Think about this for a moment. Pickles have been made for thousands of years without sugar. So why are modern brands suddenly adding it now? Could it be because sugar fuels cravings and encourages repeat purchases? Are companies engineering loyalty at the direct expense of your health?
Pickles markets itself as a premium, artisanal alternative to mass-market pickles. But higher prices don't excuse added sugars, artificial ingredients, or inconsistent quality. The cult following reflects clever branding, not superior safety.
By now, you've seen the risks hiding in many of America's most popular pickle brands. Excessive sodium stressing your heart, hidden sugars sabotaging blood sugar control, contamination risks that can turn one bite into a medical emergency.
Now comes the part you've been waiting for, the pickle brands that actually deserve your trust.
Safe pick number 1, Bubby's Kosher Dill Pickles.
Bubby's uses traditional natural fermentation methods passed down through generations, and unlike many brands, they truly mean it. Their ingredient list is refreshingly simple: cucumbers, water, salt, garlic, dill, spices, and calcium chloride for crispness. That's it. No artificial preservatives, no added sugar, no vague natural flavors. Every ingredient is recognizable and serves a clear purpose.
Bubby's contains about 200 milligrams of sodium per serving. Still something to watch, but significantly lower than most competitors pushing 300 milligrams or more. That difference matters, especially for seniors monitoring blood pressure.
What truly sets Bubby's apart is natural fermentation. Instead of using vinegar to force flavor, they allow beneficial bacteria to ferment the cucumbers slowly. This process creates probiotics, live cultures that support digestion and gut health. For seniors who take antibiotics, manage digestive issues, or simply want to support immune health, those probiotics offer real benefits. You're not just eating a pickle, you're eating a food that actively supports your microbiome. Research suggests probiotic foods can reduce inflammation, strengthen immunity, and even support brain health. The texture seals the deal. Bubby's delivers a consistent, satisfying crunch that most mass-market brands abandoned years ago. The garlic and dill flavors are bold but balanced, never overpowering. When you bite into one, you hear that snap, and that sound means quality. Bubby's requires refrigeration, not as a marketing trick, but because real fermentation demands it. Cold storage keeps those beneficial probiotics alive. This is preservation done the right way. Quality control is another standout. Jar after jar, consumers report the same dependable experience. No surprises, no off smells, no disappointment. Just a properly made pickle every time.
Safe pick number 2, Grillo's Pickles.
Grillo's began as a small operation at Boston farmers markets before growing into a national brand. Unlike many companies, expansion didn't dilute their standards. They kept the practices that earned trust in the first place. Their ingredient list stays clean and honest: cucumbers, water, vinegar, salt, garlic, grape leaves, dill, and spices. No preservatives, no artificial colors, no added sugars. What you see on the label is exactly what's in the jar. Grillo's contains about 220 milligrams of sodium per serving, higher than Bubby's, but still far below the dangerous levels found in brands like Best Made or Mount Olive. Seniors watching sodium can enjoy Grillo's in moderation without undoing their heart health efforts. Together, Bubby's and Grillo's prove that safe, flavorful pickles still exist. You just have to know where to look.
Now you do.
Grillo's strikes a smart balance between great flavor and better health. Instead of relying on powders or artificial flavoring, they use real fresh garlic. You can actually see whole garlic cloves floating in the brine, a simple but powerful sign that what's on the label is truly what's in the jar.
Those grape leaves aren't there for decoration either. They naturally contain tannins that help keep pickles crisp, eliminating the need for artificial firming agents. It's old-school food science passed down through generations and still effective today. Consumer feedback on Grillo's is overwhelmingly positive. People consistently praise the texture, firm, crunchy pickles that snap when you bite into them. The flavor is bright, garlicky, and clean without that harsh, artificial edge found in many mass-market brands. These taste like pickles made by someone who genuinely cares about the end result, the kind your grandmother might have pulled from a crock in her kitchen.
Grillo's also takes refrigeration seriously. From the moment the pickles are made until they reach your refrigerator, the cold chain is carefully maintained. This commitment preserves freshness and prevents the quality breakdown common in shelf-stable brands. For Grillo's, refrigeration isn't optional, it's essential. Their food safety record reflects that care. No major recalls, no contamination scandals, no pattern of consumer complaints about spoilage or foreign objects. In an industry where shortcuts are common, Grillo's stands out by consistently choosing quality over quick profits.
For seniors looking for a pickle they can trust, Grillo's delivers. Clean, recognizable ingredients, reasonable sodium levels, excellent texture, and a proven history of safety.
It's proof that better options do exist. You just have to know where to look. Not all pickles are created equal. Some quietly put your health at risk while promising the exact opposite. Now you know which brands to leave on the shelf and which ones truly deserve space in your refrigerator.
Your heart, your blood sugar, and your peace of mind are worth protecting.
Subscribe now.